roll call from Sue.
Board Member Yankovic,
Yes.
Board Member Reister,
Here.
Board Member DeVore,
Here.
Board Member McClure. Here. Board Member Cease.
Here.
And Board Members Doyle, Larkin, and Lonick are all absent, and Chair Reagan.
Here. And we need a motion to approve the absences.
So moved.
Cliff, is there a second?
Second.
April?
Yep.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And we need approval of the agenda.
Approved.
That's a motion.
Motion, is there a second?
Yes.
Cliff, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And the previous minutes from the previous meeting, need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
And is there a second?
Yes.
Cliff, and any corrections or deletions or problems with the minutes? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, treasurer's report.
Okay, your current balance is $450,456.46. All of the TIFA revenue has been posted for this fiscal year, and also I want you to know the transfer's been made to the general fund.
And that's accumulation over the course of the year.
Yes.
Okay, any questions for Sue? Need a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And public comments for items not on the agenda. If none, we'll move on to old business. Anything to bring up for that, Mike?
I'll let you be bringing back some revisions to the downtown plan pretty soon.
Okay. Other than that, we will move on to new business. Broadway proposal.
In the current fiscal year budget, the DDA budgeted $90,000 for a mill and overlay for North Broadway from Main Street to Riverside Drive. With the current water main and lift station upgrades currently on South Broadway, I requested an estimate from Camming and Road Boats for a mill and overlay on North Broadway since they are working in the area already. Did this with the intent of having lower construction costs since they are currently mobilized in the area. And this could actually just be considered as an extension to that project if we agreed to do this. I received an estimate for the mill and overlay not to exceed $72,480. After discussing this further with Prine and Newhoff, there was concern in the area regarding the current grade of North Broadway. As when you look at the street now, it ponds. So normal standards are you would just go and mill 2 inches off the road currently, and then you would fill it where you need to, and then you just put asphalt on it. You'd replace the new asphalt with 2 inches of new asphalt. What we're going to do in this instance is, since the roadway is actually 3 inches, we think that we'll just mill 3 inches, refill that with asphalt, and if there's low areas, we can take the millings from the road that's there currently, and we can use that to basically fill the dead spots. In addition to this, there will be some realigning of manholes, castings, and valve boxes, and the wastewater and the water funds can handle those issues, so those won't be a cost to us. Something also, there is going to be some ADA issues over there that they are going to address regarding the sidewalks and also the connection from the post office. They'll be able to address that. I have representatives from Prine and Newhoff here, Jason Washler and Mark Mahan. If you have any questions regarding the road or engineering like that, they'll be glad to answer them for you. But I'm recommending, if this project is approved, we can have it completed before June 30th of this year. And I'm recommending that the Downtown Development Authority approve the proposal from Camming and Road Boats to complete a mill overlay project on North Broadway from Main Street to Riverside at a cost not to exceed $72,480.
Mike, I'd like to jump in there real quick. I was going through the estimate that Brian had put together with the unit prices from K&R, and I did notice an error
Okay.
when he added in the ADA ramp upgrades, which is required by ADA law, that we forgot to add that number into that 72,000, so that number really is closer to 90,000 than
Okay.
72,000.
Okay.
That 72 is without those ADA ramp upgrades.
We have the funds, the DDA fund to handle that upgrade, so we can correct this accordingly.
I have a question for you, Mike. Does that include the parking lot also?
No, this is the street.
Okay, so this is just the
The
street?
street. Yep.
Street and on-street parking.
Yep. And the on-street parking. Yep.
Okay.
And Larkins and post office and our council have been notified because it's going back them or?
We will notify them.
Okay.
But I know he actually asked the council not too long ago when we're doing that, so
Okay.
Fix that dip going into
Yeah.
the post office parking lot too.
I believe that's the
Because that
intent.
collects a ton of.
Yeah. Yeah, they're trying to correct that ponding issue over there, all over North Broadway.
How many ADA upgrades are there?
I believe there's a couple connections of sidewalk, I want to say like 3 or 4.
Yeah, we have 7 in our estimates.
Okay.
We've got a pretty conservative number on that, because each ADA ramp's gonna take a little bit different level of effort. Some are just simply replacing the sidewalk ramp adjacent to the curb. Others, we may have to take the sidewalk that's adjacent to that to get the fire slopes. So there's a varying effort there per ramp. We have 7 in our estimate
7.
right now.
Okay, anyone want to make a motion to the tune of what, 90,000 then?
I make that motion with the adjusted cost to 90,000.
Okay, Mike, is there a second?
Second that?
Cliff? Motion and second. Any further discussion or questions for the crew here? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, and then we'll commence, already commenced.
Yeah, it'll be in conjunction with everything going on over there now.
Okay.
And also, we also have the North Hudson issue as well, so we're gonna work and coordinate all those together.
Just along the same lines as the South Broadway, is that they're, I haven't seen the blueprints for that. Where's the curb cut gonna be for parking to get into that lot? It could be next to the Shell station then, or,
The curb cut to get to the parking lot,
yeah, the old parking lot that they,
Company.
you know, there's a, right across the
I
market?
believe there's one closer to Shell, and then obviously they're going to close right.
Yeah, because they're close Broadway.
Yeah,
And
I
then,
believe it's closer to Shell. I don't know off the top of my head, but
okay. And then, is there gonna be sidewalk put in there then too?
yes, eventually there will be sidewalk down Broadway. That's something that's going to take some time because there'll be sidewalk on Main as there is now, but some of the sidewalks on Broadway is going to take some time because it's going to be contingent on when King Milling does some of their upgrades that they need to do. And it'll be tied, so it'll be done at a later date.
And, that old parking lot that went through like a phase one, remember I asked you about that, is that because it's gonna be repaved, there's no issues with
Yeah, I'm not
construction
aware
in
of,
phase
yeah,
two?
I'm not aware of any
No,
issues.
okay.
I'm not aware of any issues.
Good.
Mike, I was looking at the plans issue with Brian Beaumont. I think that drive opening is actually going to be closer to where South Broadway's opening is right now.
Okay.
As
Yeah,
opposed to being closer to Shell.
yeah, I couldn't recall where it was.
Yeah, this is just for clarification.
Okay, remember, there's a motion and a second, have we voted on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, now we can move on to the big boiler parking lot.
I just wanted to stop down and talk to you guys, throw an idea out there that I had regarding parking on the east end of town. Obviously, we put the brew pub in last year. We put some office spaces in the building. We've got the new furniture store now, and there's more activity on the east side of town. There's more pressures and demands on the parking down there. We addressed it with the on-street parking there along the 300 block, and that's helped, but I think that we still need more parking down there. I just wanted to throw it out as a possible idea. I've got the parking lot that I own that's right next to the building. I'd like to add some more parking behind the building so that we can get more parking down there. But I think to do that, I'd like to propose at least the idea of having the DDA purchase that parking lot, make it a public parking lot, and then I could use those proceeds to add the parking behind the building. In general, that's what I'm thinking. I have a map here that the assessor gave me along with an email that he has that has some valuations on it for you guys to ponder as far as what it would look like and how much it would cost. It may not be doable, it might not be a good idea, I don't know, I'm just kind of throwing it out there as something to think about for us to have access to more parking. I know Greg is, pursuing some sort of development in the upstairs of that building next to us, which is gonna just increase the demands for parking down there, so I think long-term it would be a good idea to get some more parking down there. And then, kind of on a related issue, I'm kind of wondering about the parking that is along the street there. Is that 2-hour parking? It seems like the rest of the town, everything on the street is 2-hour parking. Is that 2-hour parking?
No, it is not,
So we can park there 24 hours a day?
pretty much.
Is there any thought about making that 2-hour parking?
We'd have to contact MDOT on that. They're the ones that regulate the signage, excuse me. And when those signages came down a few years ago, they were never replaced. So without it being properly signed, it's not enforceable for 2 hours.
There's a sign, I think, right here in front of City Hall that says 2-hour parking. Is that relating to this side of the street?
Yes,
So there's parts of Main Street that are 2-hour parking, parts of Main Street that are not?
correct.
Okay. Because like right now, I think what we have is some people come in the morning, they come and work at various businesses, and some of the employees just kind of fill that whole parking area up. And it's just full all day, which I think creates challenges for the businesses that are down there. There's really no place for any customers to park.
We could get a hold of MDOT and have them come down and take a look at it again. That actually would have to go through the city manager, if he directs me to do
Okay.
that.
I've had conversations with Ken at the furniture store next door, and, he's only got 2 or 3 spots in front of the store. He says, there's certain days that by 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, every single one of those spots is filled, and those vehicles just sit there all day. So if somebody wants to come to the furniture store, like, they don't have a place to park. So, one other thing I was gonna bring up that's related is, we kind of had a bit of a safety issue at that corner there, and I think we took 1 or 2 parking spots out. It feels like it almost needs 1 more taken out. As much as I hate to lose a parking space, when you sit at that corner, I don't know if anybody's ever tried pulling out of there, you just feel like you're taking your life in your hand. I mean, you literally just sit there, make sure nobody's coming from the east, and then kind of go and hope nobody hits you. I mean, you cannot see. I mean, I can't believe we don't have accidents down there.
Couple of things, just getting back to the 2-hour parking. One thing, business owners, we've talked about this in the past, you just hate to tell people they can't stay here and spend money. When you go 2-hour parking, they're walking around town, they come back and there's a ticket, or oh, we gotta get back. I was gonna go into Cliffs and spend $5,000 on a ring for my wife, but I don't have time because I gotta leave. So that's the drawback to enforcing the 2-hour parking.
But we have it in other parts of town. I mean, it's either a good idea or it's not. Let's be consistent with it, make it all 2-hour parking or 4-hour parking.
Or take it all away.
Let's just make it consistent, because honestly, right now, a lot of people don't even know. Is it 2-hour parking?
It's hard to enforce because it's very spotty.
Because, like I said, there's a sign here that says 2-hour parking, so there was a 2-hour parking over there. Like, I don't know. I've never seen anybody get a ticket. But some consistency there, I think, would help everybody understand what the policy is. And maybe it's not 2-hour parking, maybe it's 3-hour parking or 4-hour parking. But something where somebody's not showing up at 7:30 in the morning, parking their car there, and at 5:30 in the afternoon, leaving.
Right, and I think that's on us as business owners I don't think there are too many employees. I'm right there on that corner. It's not the same cars that I'm noticing. It may be coffee shop customers that are in there. She gets some business, but we certainly, as business owners, want to ask our employees, and if we see somebody that's an employee somewhere else, say, hey, those are.
And some of them are tenants in my building, some of the office tenants, but I don't really have the authority to tell them they can't park there.
Sure you do.
Maybe they own the building.
I guess, but-
The other thing on that pulling out there, I hate to see more spots taken away. Sometimes those big convex mirrors that you mount on a post, the way that I cheat, you can look in the reflective windows of all weather seal, you can see off the windows. Not everybody's up to that trick, but a big convex mirror might help that there. It is a hazard as it is.
It's better than it was. I mean, when I first did it, it was just suicidal practically, but So anyways, I have a couple sheets, I only have one copy of each one, but I can drop them off with you guys if you want to. It's got a map here of what the parking spot or the parking area would look like, and then an email I got from Jeff, just with the value of it.
Okay. My gut feeling is a couple things. Number one, excuse me, as business owners, we need to, constantly educate and remind our employees to park in the back. Because same things happen in our block too. And sometimes business owner, one or two buildings over, their employees will park in front of mine because they're not in front of theirs. So we need to educate everybody, everyone's employees, to try to use a municipal parking lot or something far away, but not in front of another business. A nice problem to have is to have, your parking lots filled, but, for retailers, you need to have that the constant flow of people that can park in front of your spot. So that's an education thing that, for 33 years, I've been hearing, up and down Main Street. We just constantly need to remind our employees to park away from the business. And in a tactful way, Brent, you can do that to the tenants that live upstairs, just ask them.
But I can't do it to all the employees of all the businesses.
And we don't expect you to, but, that's something maybe even with the DDA or just something that we can send out a flyer or chamber meetings to remind employees.
And voluntary is nice, but at the end of the day, it's not going to get the job done. I mean, Rita's got one parking spot in front of her building. If one of my employees from the brew pub decides they want to park there for a 10-hour shift and she doesn't even have a parking spot anymore, I mean, technically right now, I guess we could do that. But,
Right.
I mean, putting up a sign and making it a law would really kind of just make the problem go away, wouldn't it?
Well, one of the problems we also have with 2-hour enforcement is we have one officer on patrol. We don't know what that officer is involved in. We don't know what they're tied up in. So there'll be a lot of times that even though you have that 2-hour ordinance, not much you can do to enforce it. I mean, there is a solution to the parking problem that no one's going to like. There is a solution. It's called paid parking meters with meter enforcement. Now, I'm not sure downtown's ready for that yet, but something to consider. That will solve a lot of these issues, but there is a problem with doing that as well.
It's going to be negative.
Nobody's gonna
Exactly.
It's like if I were to
Can-
go there.
Just spitballing, can you do, I guess a meter, is there such a thing as a meter that knows when you pull up there and you would have like the first 2 hours free or something like that? Or is that?
It's possible. I mean, with technology, I'm sure you can do a lot of crazy things now. I know what you're seeing now in a lot of places is your perfect example. If you go to Michigan State now, you don't pay a meter. You go to a station and you identify. They just want your plate, and they identify where it is, and they can tell. They can track whether or not that car's in that zone, how long it's been there, and all that.
Downtown Detroit's the same.
Yeah, Detroit's the same way. But, so there's ways, you could possibly design a software where if you come in there, you plug something in, first 2 hours are free.
I'm just thinking
Yeah.
that would be a positive spin to put on
True.
a negative situation of metered parking. Because,
Sure.
hey, we're giving you the first 2 for free.
I mean, I think as business owners in Lowell, we want to keep the parking free.
Right.
Paying for parking is not going to be accepted, I don't think, by
I agree.
anybody. And honestly, from an enforcement standpoint, if they've only got one officer on duty, just putting the policy in place and putting the signs up is going to do the bulk of the work. I mean, even if we don't really strictly enforce it, there's 90% of the population is still fairly on it. Make the policy, make the law, put the signs up. Let's just let the signs do the work. It's pretty cheap, and we don't have to go buy computer systems and parking meters. Just put up some signs, and I think the problem mostly goes away. That's my 2 cents.
I think in addition to that, employers really can make it part of their package with their employees, having to park elsewhere. If it means a customer doesn't stop because they don't find a place to park and it's taken up by a couple employees, then I think it's in the best interest of the employer to do something about that.
Right, if I owned all the businesses in town, that would work.
Well, I'm talking about all employers.
I agree 100%. If we all kumbaya and get together, we're all gonna control our employees, that's great. But if half of us do and half of us don't, it doesn't work. Let's just make a law, put up a sign, and fix the problem. Again, that's my 2 cents.
Am I the only one that's somewhat confused by what your proposal was initially? Because we covered about 4 different things.
They're all kind of related.
Well, so you want the DDA to buy part of a parking lot?
I can show you the map.
I'm looking at the picture.
Can I show this to you?
The part that's already approved.
All the way down, so this is the property right here. This is the chunk of property that the assessor put in. It's the entire parking lot and then that little grass chunk. So it would be this entire area right here.
So you own this now.
Correct.
You want us to buy it.
And then I'm going to use
And make-
the seats to make more parking back here, so we actually expand the parking.
But if we buy this, we're making it a municipal parking lot, not just big boiler
Of
parking?
course, I can't expect
Well, how do
guys
you
to buy
enforce
it.
that though?
Well, that's why I'm confused, because it's,
You know, if you guys want to buy it, let me control it, that's great, but I would propose making it a public parking.
Well,
I
how
ask
do you
what the
enforce
value-
that if all
what's
of
the
your
value?
people are there for?
What has it been valued at? What do they think we should pay?
Here's the 75, 77.
The problem is, if you buy that parking lot, you're gonna have to build it to a municipal standard at some point. That goes to about $300,000 to $400,000, which you don't have.
Right.
Then we're out of money.
And how do you enforce it so people aren't there?
Right.
I mean, I'm just thinking, when we had our class reunion there, we were obviously there for more than 2 hours. So how do you enforce parking lot? You want other people to park and go to the brew pub and go shopping and stuff like that? if it's a
Well, I think it
public
still
one.
gets back to what we were talking about, you make it like a 4-hour parking. I mean, most people aren't going shopping at the furniture store or getting dinner in more than 4 hours. Or no overnight parking, or what do we have in the other lots? We have other parking lots, how are those enforced?
They vary. And, you know, part of me says, you know, this kind of sets a precedent when, you know, business owner would like some extra cash to use something else, that we buy their lot. And our requirements as a municipal lot are different than a private lot. So to me, it just kind of sets a bad precedent. It doesn't hurt to ask, Brent, so I appreciate you coming and appreciate the business and the investment you brought to Lowell too. But, you know, right now, unless, you know, we'd run out of money if we did fix it up to code that we would be required to, so. So unless the rest of the board feels like we can do this, I think we'll kind of pass on this for right now.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw it out.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to ask, so absolutely. Okay. Next item on the agenda is a budget fiscal year update on that.
Yes, in front of you is the budget for fiscal year 19. It'll begin on July 1st of this year. Hold on a second here. We are projecting an additional $104,000 in revenue over last year. This is due to the expansion of Lighthouse Foods, along with some other industrial facility parcels being added to the tax roll. Last year, we budgeted $424,000 in new revenue, and we actually saw approximately $471,000 come in. For the upcoming year, we're projecting about $528,400. With the possibility of that actually being higher, we're trying to get some clarification from the assessor on some things. One of my concerns is, well, sometimes it happens when your values go up too high, it actually forces your millage rate down. So that's something that I'm having the assessors look at for sure. But we are seeing a nice increase to the DDA fund. In the current fiscal year, we proposed $446,000 in expenditures, which give us an additional $32,000 in fund balance. We're going to need to make some amendments to the current budget. So this number is going to change, but I reduced the capital outlay item from $90,000 to $85,000, as we were anticipating some cost savings, but with this change, it's probably gonna bump it to about $100,000. So we'll actually have to add $10,000 to it. Just increasing the public utility line item by $3,000 and increasing the rental line item for equipment in the downtown that was used for winter maintenance. We used a lot more equipment this winter, did a lot more things downtown because of the weather, so there's a cost to that. For the upcoming year, I highlighted some major appropriations, mainly in the $71,000 in the capital outlay line item. With the completion of the construction of the showboat, which is to be enclosed and heated during the winter months, it is the intent of the city to incorporate the showboat into some form of a community event center that will host community events that can be rented by the community. I don't know if any of you are familiar with what's going on in Hudsonville right now. The city took on a property called Terrace Square, turned it into a farmer's market. It's an event center for them. They use it for a number of different functions, and it's really a community event center that is generating quite a bit of revenue for the city of Hudsonville. So that's something that I'm looking at incorporating with the showboat once we get further along with that, but needed to have some seed money just to have startup costs. The intent is for the showboat to be fully sustainable on its own, which I believe it can. But I proposed $35,000 in startup costs, and I'll come back to the board at a later date with a more detailed plan. And also, there was $36,000 proposed out of that line item to replace signage, this Welcome to City of Lowell signs in the DDA district. There's a number of signs. If you look at them, they're getting old. The elements are starting to put a toll on them. So I was looking to possibly refresh those signs. Probably $36,000 probably won't cover the whole cost of doing it. So my intent was to write a grant to either the LCTV or Community Foundation or one of the different entities for assistance with that. $65,000 for community promotions. This includes our normal contribution to the chamber for the events. I also added $20,000 for the sculpture initiative that we discussed last month. Also, in addition, $151,000 would be the DDA's contribution for the City Hall bond, and $17,340,000 for the contribution to finance the Bobcat and front end loader that we committed to. One other thing I may have forgot to list in here is I put about $10,000 in the budget as well to do some sort of planning for the fairgrounds when the fair leaves. We probably need to start putting a plan in place for that as to what we would like to see there. So that's something I put in the budget as well. All in all, the DDA is in good long-term condition. The DDA is committed to revitalizing the downtown area. Due to some lost property values over the last few years and some issues with the Michigan Tax Tribunal, we lost a lot of revenue, and it's starting to come back, but it's still not what it was. We currently have about 51% of our money in reserves, but we still always need to be cognizant of the fund, that we're not going to, because there's still volatility out there. There might be issues with the revenues in the future, so it's just something we need to be mindful of. I put it off this year, but I think next year we're going to have a conversation about subsidizing some or all of the costs of a police officer from this fund in the future. In the last 3 years, 52% of all police calls for service occurred within the Downtown Development Authority district. Funding police services is an allowable expense of the DDA. It's something I'm going to evaluate this upcoming fiscal year. It's not in the budget for this year, but I think it's something that we're going to probably have to have a discussion in greater detail with both the DDA board and the council. But I'm recommending the DDA budget as I presented it, and if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
When you're talking about signage, we had somebody come to us at council about the high school state champion sign, which I think two of them are in the DDA, right? And then the other two are outside, but they haven't been updated in years. I mean, I don't know who normally pays for that, but
yeah, we researched that. The city didn't pay for that.
I don't know where
I don't know
coming from.
that might be a dicey situation.
Well, I can talk to Craig and Brad and find out
Yeah.
who paid for them originally, but I know 2 of them are in the
Yeah.
DDA.
Yeah.
But they, I think 2006 was the last time they were updated.
Yeah, the city didn't pay for those, they
They're
had any
in
involvement
shape,
with
too.
those. Yeah, they need to be updated.
Yeah, let's find that out. I'd like to at least mention that it would be nice to start carving out some marketing money for the chamber for the city of Lowell.
Sure.
There's some really neat things going on right now. We've got more planned, but they are not cheap. And personally speaking, I don't know how about the rest of the board, but I'd rather market Lowell more than necessarily involve ourselves with the sculptures, just personally speaking.
I mean, there is money to do both. I mean, if we wanted to, if you guys wanted me to add some money to marketing, I could do that.
I think we did, I think we should.
How much you think?
20 grand would be nice.
I think we
Well,
could.
you're recommending 65,000
Right.
for marketing.
My understanding is that's the cost for the events as is.
Well, but
That's-
normally the contribution is 25, correct? So you're already increasing it by 40 grand.
Okay.
That includes the summer concert.
I'm not complaining, I'm
No,
just.
no, that's for other things though.
Yeah, that's
Can
for
we
other
itemize a little bit here?
Oh, okay, because I'm sorry.
Yeah, what I put the money in was, I believe it was $45,000 for the chamber events, and then $20,000 for the sculptures out of that line item. But there's plenty, I mean, I don't think there's any issue of putting an additional $20,000 in
On top of
on
what
top
we
of that, so you could
Chamber
actually,
marketing.
yeah, you could adjust that to 85. That would be very easy to do.
I'd like to see that.
We can do that.
I'd support that.
I need to understand the break, I'm just trying to play catch up. 45,000 includes the concerts and,
Christmas, concerts, I
Riverwalk.
think we put, so do we put the toilets, I hate to say that, the porta johns in there too.
Probably the lunches come out of there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's for all the chamber, the Christmas through Lowell,
Riverwalk?
Riverwalk.
how much goes directly to the
Well, I don't
marketing
really get
fund?
anything.
25?
25,000.
25 even.
Well, then I can figure out that the other 20 goes to everything
Yeah,
else.
I believe
Correct,
6,500
correct.
you
Okay.
usually donate to Christmas, I believe 600 to summer concerts,
6,000.
6,000, I'm sorry, and then 1,200, the 12 to 1,500 for the porta johns, I believe. And
So,
that's it. I
Would
mean,
it, would
that's-
another 20,000 on top of what you already use, would that be helpful?
Yes. Yeah, it'd
And
be
maybe in
awesome.
future years, we could maybe carve out more, because that's what we really need to do.
Yeah, maybe we could start doing the TV commercials that we've talked about.
Exactly, exactly.
Committee level, I know.
Liz, how much did that video cost? Not to put you on the spot.
I was just instructed to go to the
The Speaker Lowell Area Chamber of Commerce.
What did the video cost?
We have made, we're not done yet, but it's about $10,000. And we still have the second half to come. We just signed the second contract with him to produce
7, I thought.
20 to 40-second commercials. So, you know,
Well,
we're
how much was the initial, he made a long video, which I'm hoping everyone saw. It does a nice job of telling,
the initial one was 5.
Okay.
So our commitment goal was 10, and we did bump it up because we had to change our format a bit. We, you know, everything's a learning curve when it comes to marketing, and our commercial told the story of Lowell. It did it very well, but it's 3 minutes long. And in social media, we found that we have to have shorter snippets. So our next half of marketing will include arts and culture, shopping, eating, and dining, sports, education,
arts,
yeah.
and events.
And events.
You know, I think that's a good use of money, because people nowadays, that's what they're looking for, is they're going to To the media.
social media, correct. So that's what we'll be doing is, and the nice thing about the shorter snippets is that they can, help me out, Rick, they'll rotate them so that we're not playing the same commercial all the time. So we can do that, and then we can also, I know Mike had asked me about TV commercials, and TV commercials are about 30 seconds long. That's about where you want to be with that, so we'll be able to use that. Another really good thing to remember is that we will be the owners of the library of all the media or everything that he's filmed, which is good for future, making future things as well. So.
And all these videos, social media will have some statistics on that. We also will be able to post some of those things on the website. And those people that are involved in it, a lot of sharing of these videos gets out there to a lot of friends that are not from the area. So it's working really well.
Okay, I'm talking about the fiscal year budget. Some of the additions to that, I think maybe we can come back to.
Yeah,
as far as the details on the.
Mr. Chair, can I explain something real quick before, just so you're aware, when I put the budget together, probably about 2-3 weeks ago, and we were only projecting about $470,000 coming in. And it was this week when we found out it was really going to be 520, if not more. Just understand that when I gave the budget, it was based on the original 470 coming in. So you're going to be, with these adjustments, you're going to be fine. It won't be an issue.
So we can do 20 extra for marketing for the chamber and still look at the sculptures.
Oh yeah, you can do both.
Okay.
You can do both.
And then you need to add 10 to the capital outlay, right?
Yeah.
For the North.
That's just to get you through this year. That's to get you through this year. So, but yeah.
Can I just ask a question about, I think it's a great idea to have the showboat be something, a community event center, et cetera, et cetera. When you're talking about $35,000 in startup costs, is that, what kind of things?
I'm just thinking for operational, to get it started on an operational standpoint. Eventually, maybe at some point, we can get reimbursed. Maybe the intent would be to get reimbursed back that $35,000.
You mean like for maintenance and?
Yeah, just you might have to have some event company come in and manage that for you. I haven't gotten that far along yet.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think of it from the operational aspect of when it's done, what do we do with it?
Well, worst case scenario is what, we have money left over, right?
Right.
God forbid.
So you're just sort of setting that aside for the moment and not knowing exactly how this is all going to work out, but just for safekeeping purposes for what we run into and trying to make that work.
Correct.
Okay, do we need a motion for this budget? Or is this, okay, we need a motion?
So moved.
Cliff, is there a second?
That's with the extra 20,000 for community promotions for.
And the extra 10,000
For the fairgrounds.
for the
No, for the capital for North Broadway. Fairground's already in there.
I'll support it with those changes.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Discussion. I'll just put in my 2 cents for the City Hall bond. We've been, if the DDA was not here, a lot of this money would be going to their general fund anyways. So I've been, an advocate of helping the city pay off the City Hall. And as far as the police officer, if that is needed down the road, we've set precedents in the past for helping to pay for janitorial or custodial work, on mowing the grasses in the downtown DDA district in the past too. So the police officers are being in the DDA district and spending a lot of time. I don't have a problem with financing, some part of that, like through the DDA also.
enforcing 2-hour parking.
Possibly that. Okay. Any other discussion?
I have a question. How much more time is left on the City Hall bond?
2032.
2032.
They just refinanced it in 2012 for another 20 years. All right.
Okay, any other, this motion and a second, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, reports and member comments?
When I was cleaning stuff in the back room, I found a letter from 2007 from, was it Captain Sergeant Valentine, asking the business owners to make sure that their people were parking places other than. So if you want that, I will give it to you and you can just change verbiage and
And your name.
your name and the date.
So I can employ you with April.
Yes. I already told you, I'll volunteer, just give me the ticket book, I'll be more than happy.
Well, I'll tell you what. Does the money that you get from the tickets stay in Lowell or does it go to Kent County?
It stays in the state.
Can you make the money?
The key is properly signing it. And once we have to have MDOT agree to allow us to properly sign it. That's the rule.
And to bring up another memory from Chief Valentine, when we would all complain about parking, he would say, that's a great problem to have, is you got so many people coming to downtown Lowell, they can't find a place to park.
That's what I said that too.
That's it.
Well,
April?
Good.
things are looking good.
Good.
Mayor?
No, sir.
Mike?
Dan Burton will be here May 15th. If you can make it, I would strongly suggest coming.
What date is that again?
It's May 15th, I think it's a Wednesday. We'll be here about 9 in the morning. I'll have more details out as it gets closer.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, yep.
Okay, next meeting, first Thursday in May after the
May 10th.
May 10th.
Yeah.
Okay, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, Cliff, second.
Support.
Mike? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed can stay here.